Hey guys, welcome back to the Intentional Queen podcast, Journey to Restoration with your host Janine, where queens come to be empowered and intentional in everything they do to overcome obstacles and level up their IQ to a better you. You know, here at the Intentional Queen podcast, we peeling back them layers. We talking about self-healing, we talking about self-love, and we definitely are leveling up our IQ to a better you. One of the biggest things that I want to talk with you guys about today is patience in your waiting and how you can prepare while you're waiting for all things to come together for a greater good. So this is going to be a quick episode, but I'm just going to spill some wisdom nuggets that I feel like I needed to share today, and hopefully you guys are blessed by it. I was listening to a podcast by Joyce Myers, and I normally listen to one of her podcasts every morning. It's like 15 minutes, so while I'm getting my son ready and I'm getting ready for work. And I think it's awesome because one of her recent episodes, she talked about ingredients of a cake and how things are better when it comes together. So this is how she broke it down. So I'm going to kind of use some of her and I'm going to try to flip it a little bit. She talked about when you are in a storm and when you got all these problems going on, and God will make sure that all the things that are working in your good, it may not look like it at the time, but they're adding up for a reason. So she used the cake analogy where when you make a cake, you know, I ain't out there baking. Let's be clear, I ain't out there baking. But when you using Betty Crocker and it tell you to go on and put them ingredients in there, what it tell you to do? Put the eggs, and it tells you to put the butter, and it tells you to put the flour, and it tells you to put the sugar. But if you eat those things separately, they don't taste good, at least not to me. But you're not going to just eat the eggs uncooked. You're not going to just sit there and eat flour. But when you put all those ingredients together to make the cake batter and then you bake the cake, it comes out. But it might be one ingredient in your life right now that is not making your full cake. But you were up there trying to focus on the cake instead of worrying about, you shouldn't be worrying at all, but you're focusing your energy on the missing ingredient, but you're not taking heed that the storms or the puzzle pieces that you're having is for a greater purpose for you in the end. When I started Intentional Queen Journey, there were so many moving parts, but I know God has a mission for the full journey. So I have to keep my eyes focused forward, but I also know that the ingredients will add up to something better in the end, and I can't get stuck dealing with each individual ingredient. I got to go ahead and blend them together. So in your life, I don't know what you're going through, but is there something you've been waiting on in your life and you so worried about it or stressed about it or forcing all your energy into it? God is saying you got to look into other things. For instance, for me, I'm helping y'all and doing being a vessel for him. Doing podcasting and being vulnerable was not something I signed up for intentionally, but God said, girl, this is what you're doing. Every excuse I had of why I'm not doing this, God made provisions. Okay. I said, I need a person to show me how to do it. He gave me somebody. Well, if don't nobody listen, then I don't need to do it. Well, the amount of people that have listened so far, even at the beginning, lets me know that this is empowering women and it's something I'm supposed to do. So this purpose is greater than me. And me sowing seed into you is also sowing seed back into me. I thought that was so good. Marinate on that for a second. There's another thing I wanted to talk about, and then we're going to wrap this quick episode up. I was watching... I always do some video reviews and get motivation. And Medea, which is Tyler Perry, he was doing a play, and it was a clip of the play, and he was talking about people in your life. And he said, you have people who are the roots, people who are the branches, and people who are the leaves. Now, I want y'all to listen to me closely because this one is near and dear to me, okay? There will be people in your life that are like leaves. And they sway with the wind, okay? They there for you 1 minute, they not there for you the other. And then you have people who are branches. You lean on them, right? But if you lean too hard, the branch will break. And then you got root people. And when you look at a tree does not require a lot of roots. It only requires a couple of roots. Maybe 2 or 3, okay? But they need to be deep rooted, okay? They need to be strong. They need to be watered. They are underground. Y'all catch this tea? I'm only bringing this up because this was something we've been talking about in the beginning series with the meekness and the vulnerability episodes about how the butterfly and when you cocooned and when you prune back, when you are in the ground with those roots and they're being watered, those are the people that you want in your life. They will make that tree stand up. But you don't really always see the roots, do you? But you know they exist. And if you do not make sure you nourish and you stand on them, because let me tell you, when I was in my biggest storms, if it was not for them roots, y'all, okay, there would be no Intentional Queen podcast. You need to feel that in my voice. I had branch people and leaf people that I thought were root people. When I talked about, I forget what episode, I talked about you have to be careful who you vest your energy into. TD Jakes talks about scaffolding people. And that's like when you have a building, they got like the scaffolding around there. Say you having a house built. When you have a house built, you have the builders come and build the house for you. They don't stay there once the house is built. They leave, right? They only there to structure you and then they leave. But that's their purpose. Don't be mad when they leave. That's their purpose. Is to leave. They just there to assist. And sometimes I want to relate that to the leaf people because they just there to provide a little shade, sway in the wind, make you look full, but they're not the ones that provide you with your nutrients. Okay. The branch people, I got branch people, but I know where I can lean and where I can't. I can't lean fully on them, but I know they're there to assist me. They're there for my goals. They're there for my purpose. But when times get hard, that is not where you lean. When you realize and you identify people for what they are, it's nothing wrong with being a leaf and it's nothing wrong with being a branch. And it darn for sure is nothing wrong with being a root. But you need to be able to identify and make sure you deal with them accordingly, because you can get your feelings hurt and you can get, as I say, endangered. When we talked about the giraffe, because you are looking at branch and leaf people like they your roots. Catch that tea, okay? And it's nothing wrong also if a leaf wants to become a branch or a branch wants to become a root. But it's when you address them and you tell them your issues of, can I lean on you and can you be a root? And then they don't change behavior or they don't show signs that they really want to be something better in your life. That's when you have to let them go and you release them to God, or you deal with them accordingly. Because if it wasn't, I want to say my brother said it, good, bad, and indifferent, thank you. Those people are there for a purpose, but understand their purpose. Being vulnerable is okay, but you also need to understand that being fully vulnerable and transparent comes with its risk. But you have to also understand that it's okay to be vulnerable in the same sense. It's just practicing discernment and practicing patience, because when you're in a time of waiting, you have to be patient for what's to come. Because when you rush, sometimes you lean on the branch and leaf people thinking that they can provide what you need at the time. Well, that might not have been your long-term goal. So you just fulfilled a long-term goal with a short-term answer that you probably should have waited on. Sit on that for a second. So I said a lot in these last few minutes, but they've been on my spirit and God kept showing me this over and over again. And discernment, patience kept coming up, but also about relationships, because this podcast is about relationships. It's about mindset. It's about healing broken places and wholeness. So I hope this short episode blessed you, and I hope that you find a sense of gratitude in the space that you in, and understand that your time will come. Feel me, baby girl. Your time will come. Something else just came up to me before I was getting right in this. I talk about the seasons of relationships, right? And you have the spring and the summer, you have the fall and the winter. Let's relate it back to the tree, okay? When you doing real good, right? You got a bunch of darn leaves. They right there, right? And then when fall and winter come, leaves normally die off, right? And then you're real bare. But you also have to make sure you're watering your roots and make sure that your roots know that they your roots. I call my roots my tribe or my village. They my down people. I mean, when things are down, okay, when you cocooned and pruned, you can look back and say, yo, they for me. Creating new tribes is fine. And it doesn't mean that you have to leave your old tribe. You just have to identify the needs that you need. For instance, if you're in a tribe and your needs are not being met, you might have to go create a new eagle flight system to fly with for that need. And I'm not talking about like cheating or anything. I'm talking about, for instance, I'm all about women empowerment right now. So some of the people in my circle, that's not what they doing. So I created a circle that's all about that. But when I'm with the other tribe, I don't have to talk about podcasting and all that stuff that they don't care about, right? I can just be Janine doing what I want to do with them. It does not change my value of the tribe. It just changes that I go somewhere else to get that need met. So then I don't resent them because they don't want to talk about or do what I want to do right now. Does that make sense? We're going to have another episode where I'm going to dig deeper into that, because I feel like we got to talk about your self-value and your self-worth. And the women have come to me and they said, Janine, we want you to do a workshop. And so I want to get a workshop queen panel thing going for you guys. So go to my Instagram and shoot me a direct DM. Give me your email, because if you guys sign up on the email, you guys are first to find out the events that are going on. And of course, I want you to come, because we trying to empower women and level each other up. So we're going to close this one out saying, make sure you recognizing that your time is coming. Patience in your waiting. Know who your tree is and identify the parts. Make sure you keep watering your roots, and be okay with creating a new tribe if you need to get your needs met. So make sure to join us in 2 weeks for the next episode, and go to the website at www.intentionalqueenjourney.com. Go ahead, guys. Make sure to go ahead and snapshot a picture of you listening to the podcast, and then tag me in it at Intentional Queen Journey. Slide in my DM and give me your email so you can make sure you be first on that list for the events that are coming on. Subscribe, share, and review on Apple Podcasts, so that way the reach can go much further for the women. I'll check you guys out in 2 weeks, and I appreciate you guys as always, queens. Stay leveled up. Have a good week. Bye-bye.